Hey guys, Jidge here, and it looks like we have a ton of new details on Resident Evil 8, along with everything we know so far. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Well, it looks like the Resident Evil 8 leaks just keep coming and coming. The game is scheduled for a 2021 release, according to these rumors, which means we will be seeing a reveal very shortly. I was expecting the Sony PlayStation conference that was postponed, so definitely keep an eye on that. I just want to let you guys know that if any of these leaks and rumors are true, then heavy spoilers ahead. All this news comes from our friends over at Biohazard Declassified, so if you'd like to go through and read any of this today, I'll leave a link down below in the description. Alright, let's get right into it. Alright, first up we have exploring occultism. Occultism will play a big part, but there is no magic. There is a cult that worships the abominations created from the new virus. At first, there are hints at something supernatural, but it is explained by the virus, which is in the air causing hallucinations from time to time. So, very much like Resident Evil 3.5. The Antagonist. The main villain of the game is a man called Alan R., a mysterious count living in a castle. He is the leader, or at least a high-ranking member of the Connections. Alan is also mentioned in an article published by GameRant on May 15th, so you might remember the Connections from Resident Evil 7. Lucas was working for them. Also, the fact that this game is very gothic, it makes sense that there would be a count living in a castle. The secondary villain is Natalia, Alex Wesker. She was originally the main villain when this was still Revelations 3, but her role is rather small now. There are files hinting at Blue Umbrella is not as clean cut as they portray themselves to be. Go figure. New playable character, Emily. Parts of the game are played as a mountain resident called Emily, a woman in her late 20s who aids Ethan. She is looking for her father. Emily grew up in a village and will assist Ethan and later work with him to find her father and escape. I like that. I think that sounds really cool, a new character that'll be joining. The flashlight will play a large role. You have a flashlight and the game is often pretty dark, forcing you to use it, akin to many other games that are in the same genre. The flashlight can run out of batteries, but slowly recharge by itself over time. Sounds like an interesting mechanic. The locations. Aside from the title Village, stylized as Village Resident Evil 8, is set to explore other locations such as castles, caves, and forests. It will have larger focus on outdoor locations than the rest of the series. Here's where things get really good. The child of evil Chris Redfield. Mia and Ethan have a child. Due to their infections during Resident Evil 7, it is deformed and by all counts not a normal child. Make sense? They live a pretty lonely life in a remote place and try to hide their child. However, Chris Redfield breaks into Ethan's house, ending in the execution of Ethan's mutant child, followed by shooting Mia. Apparently, he is operating on his own, and that is not part of the official operation. When Ethan wakes up, Chris is gone. He did not leave Mia to die, but bandaged her. There are some shadowy figures in the room. Ethan is abducted there and wakes up in a village. Now that sounds really cool, and that would be why everybody's saying that Chris is bad this time around. I don't think he's technically bad. I think he's just portrayed that way to make the character question everything about him. But I think at the end of the day, his intentions are good. Ethan has made his way through the mountains. There have been disappearances in the region that are unexplained. You also start off defenseless before getting your first weapon a bit into playing. The enemies of Resident Evil 8. The main enemies are zombies and pale human-like enemies that resemble ganados. Dogs, wolves, and enemies that resemble lickers do appear as well. There are zombies with swords, knives, and clubs. They appear mainly in the later section of the game where you enter the castle. As mentioned earlier, there's also going to be a witch-like enemy that follows you in the beginning portion of the game. This enemy is going to be related to a parasite that is part of the virus. I mean, it's not really out of the realm of possibilities for Resident Evil. We've had all this stuff in Resident Evil 4, so on paper it sounds like, what are they doing? But it might play really well and make sense in the game. These werewolf enemies are going to refer to going forward as beastmen. Judging by the description, it seems to be more fitting. And it seems their build is more disgusting than normal enemies. This seems to match up with the description of the game being a serious departure. The darkest and most gruesome entry in the series thus far, and reported by AestheticGamer, aka Dusk Golem. So there's a lot to take in here. The fact that Alex Wesker is coming back, I find interesting, and the fact that they are portraying Chris as this bad guy, when in reality, I'm sure his intentions are good. It's really intriguing. A new villain, which is also interesting. We'll see how they work together. This whole occultism, I really like that idea. I think that this gothic setting they're setting up in the snowy mountainous area with a village, it's very interesting to me, and it sounds like it just bleeds atmosphere, and that's what, helps Resident Evil excel. So I really do like that idea. The new character I'm really excited for. I think her description is very interesting, and I'm looking forward to playing her parts of the game, because Ethan's kind of a bore, just being honest. So maybe between their interactions, it'll be a little bit more interesting. And the fact that this game is going to be the most gruesome to date, it really sounds like Resident Evil is kind of taking a new direction, what they did with Resident Evil 7, and they're really going with it. And I find that really interesting. I think you can't continue to do the same exact thing over and over, so you have to take chances. And I feel like Capcom went the wrong way with Resident Evil 6, and I feel like they're steering back in the right direction with Resident Evil 8, and we're going to get to see a lot more of the core elements of Resident Evil, but new and interesting things added to the game. I'm personally really excited for this game. I like the entire concept I'm seeing here. I feel like when we first heard werewolves, everybody's like, oh, come on, that's stupid. But the way they explain it here with the virus, and that the virus is causing hallucinations, it very much reminds me of Resident Evil 3.5, and that was an idea a lot of fans wanted to see explored further. Obviously, they scrapped that idea and went with Resident Evil 4 that we got. But the fact that they're bringing this idea back, it really makes me excited. There you have it, everything we know on Resident Evil 8 so far, along with a lot of new details. Now I'm curious to know what you guys think. You know, what are some of the things that stood out here to you guys? Are you excited for Resident Evil 8, or does this make you more disinterested? What do you think about Alex Wesker returning, and the new villain, Alan, and the new character, Emily? Let us know down below in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for all the latest Resident Evil 8 news. The Residents of Evil is a Patreon-supported channel, and also supported by our YouTube members. If you would like to become a YouTube member, click that join button down below, and unlock a loyalty badge and custom emojis to use in chat during our live streams. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you back at the Residents of Evil.